My husband threw his drink in my face at a party and told everyone that's what she gets for looking at other men. We were at his coworker's birthday party when it happened. I was standing by the snack table talking to a woman I'd just met when my husband's friend walked over to grab a chip. I looked up at him the way you look at anyone who enters your space. It lasted maybe 2 seconds. I didn't smile or say anything flirtatious. I just acknowledged another human being existed near me. My husband was across the room, but he saw it happen. He walked over with his glass of red wine and didn't say a word. He just threw the entire drink in my face. The wine went in my eyes and up my nose and soaked through my white blouse. I stood there in shock while he looked at everyone watching and said that's what she gets for looking at other men. Nobody moved. Nobody said anything. His friend, who I'd apparently been staring at, looked at the ground like he wanted to disappear. The woman I'd been talking to handed me a napkin and then walked away like she didn't want to get involved. My husband grabbed my arm and said we were leaving. I followed him to the car because I didn't know what else to do. My face was still dripping wine and my eyes were burning. On the drive home, he told me I'd embarrassed him by flirting with his friend in front of everyone. I said I wasn't flirting and that I'd only looked at him for a second. He said that was enough and that I should know better by now. That phrase stuck with me. I should know better by now. It meant this wasn't the first time he'd punished me for something small. It meant there had been other incidents I'd explained away or forgotten or convinced myself weren't that bad. The first year of our marriage, he'd gotten angry when I laughed too long at another man's joke at a dinner party. He didn't throw anything that time. He just gave me the silent treatment for 3 days until I apologized for making him feel disrespected. The second year, he'd accused me of dressing too nicely for work and asked who I was trying to impress. I started wearing baggier clothes to avoid the argument. The third year, he'd checked my phone while I was sleeping and demanded to know why a male coworker had texted me about a project deadline. I showed him the whole conversation and proved it was innocent, but he still didn't talk to me for a week. Every time something happened, I told myself it was a misunderstanding. I told myself he just loved me too much and got jealous easily. I told myself I could fix it by being more careful about how I acted around other men. But throwing wine in my face at a party in front of dozens of people wasn't a misunderstanding. It was abuse. And I finally had to admit that everything before it had been abuse too. When we got home, I went straight to the bathroom to wash the wine off my face. He followed me and leaned against the doorframe watching me. He said he was sorry, but that I pushed him to it. He said if I'd just been more aware of how my actions looked to other people, he wouldn't have had to teach me a lesson. He said he loved me, and that's why he cared so much about what I did. I looked at him in the mirror and saw him clearly for the first time in 4 years. He wasn't sorry. He was justifying. He wasn't loving me. He was controlling me. And the lesson he wanted to teach me wasn't about respect. It was about fear. I told him I understood. I told him I'd try to do better. He smiled and hugged me from behind and said he knew I would. I let him believe everything was fine. I needed him to believe everything was fine. The next morning was Monday, and he left for work at 8 like always. I called in sick to my job and started packing. I took only what I could fit in 2 suitcases, clothes and important documents and the jewelry my grandmother had left me. I left everything else behind. I drove to my sister's house 3 hours away. She opened the door and saw my face and didn't ask any questions. She just let me in and made me tea and said I could stay as long as I needed. That night, my husband called asking where I was. I didn't answer. He called 12 more times and then started texting. At first, the texts were worried, then they were angry, then they were threatening, then they were apologetic, then they were desperate. The cycle repeated 3 times before I finally blocked his number. My sister helped me find a lawyer who specialized in domestic situations. I filed for divorce the following week. My husband tried to contest it. Full story on channel. Link below.